Welcome to Virginia Beach, Virginia, home to the 2023 STIHL TIMBERSPORTS U.S. National Trophy. Today, 12 elite lumberjacks will be competing for this coveted trophy in an event like no other in lumberjack competition. These athletes will have to rely on their speed, their accuracy, plus an extra measure of endurance if they want to be the one to take home the title of champion.
Here we go. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Hey, Virginia Beach, welcome to the STIHL U.S. Trophy event. This is it. This is the kickoff of the 2023 season right here in Virginia Beach. This is an endurance event. My name is Super Dave Jewett. I competed in STIHL Timbersports for 25 years. And boy, am I glad I got out of it before this event started. This is an unbelievable event. 4 events, 2 chopping, 2 sawing, back to back. The winner moves on in a knockout format. Only one athlete will make it to represent the United States in Rotterdam in the Netherlands on June 10th. Unfortunately, I'm going to have a little help up here from another commentator, good friend of mine, an ex-timber sports athlete, cross-cut world record holder, Kevin Holtz. Kevin.
Well, thank you, Dave. I appreciate it. And thank you, Virginia Beach. We are super excited to be here. Obviously, it is a natural fit, this being the U.S. home for STIHL. How many STIHL employees do we have here today? Awesome. We were getting ready at the hotel this morning, walking out, and I had a very nice young lady. She saw my shirt. She says, you know, my grandfather worked there, my father worked there, and my mother worked there. So this is a Virginia Beach company, and we couldn't be more proud to be here with you all today. Of course, we can't just talk about STIHL. We've had lots of great sponsors all come together to make this happen, and they have with us for many years. We got to give a big shout out to John Deere. You'll see John Deere Gators running all over the property here. We've given away, I don't know how many John Deere Gators competitors over the years, and you got to look good up here.
Coming back.
Every year
I should retire, and then I get the entry form comes out. First place John Deere Gator. I go, oh, I got to get that.
This is the year.
But then there was Lentz's and Kogers, and they just won them. But
I heard they added on to their garage just to house all the John Deere Gators. And we also got to thank Duluth Trading Company. If you don't use or own any Duluth workwear, you got to get some. All of our competitors are be wearing Duluth Trading Company clothing, as well as our stage crew, our judges are all outfitted in Duluth Trading. And, of course, our friends at Ace Hardware.
Literally, one just opened right down the road from me. You can go there. You can get anything you want. All the tools we use on stage, the STIHL power tools now provided by Ace. We just did a monstrous demo in Texas, this Ace Hardware convention. I was talking to one of the big gentlemen we're going to meet in a minute. I said that was one of the largest crowds I ever announced in front of, but a great partnership with STIHL and Ace.
Yeah, absolutely. 2 great companies to come together. They really, truly are the helpful place. I'm on a first-name basis with the owner of my local Ace. Hi, Frank, if you're watching. Great place, helpful people, and, of course, great STIHL products available at Ace. You kind of tipped your hat a little bit to this. We have a special guest that we're going to bring up from our STIHL family. We cannot say enough great things about the partnership between this competition series. It was really born out of the STIHL company. What's been 23? 4, 5, 6?
The original.
The original, 1987.
38 years when STIHL created the original extreme sport, timber sports. Let's bring him out. Let's talk to him about what a great guy. Let's bring him out right now. He is the president and CEO of STIHL. Give a big round of applause for Terry Horan.
Hot mic. Here we go. What do you say, Virginia Beach? Thank you all for coming out today. It's going to be an exciting day and a great competition we're all looking forward to. And I couldn't be more proud to be here. You know, our company, Andreas STIHL, the founder of our company in 1926, invented the world's first electric chainsaw. And his desire was really just to find a better way to make it safer and easier to work with and in nature. And much has changed in our company over the years, but we're still family owned. Today we are in the 3rd generation of STIHL family members running and owning our company. But the bottom line is it's still about finding better solutions, and better ways is at the heart of everything that we do when we make our products. The family recognized a long time ago that the U.S. was really the greatest potential for growth in the world. And the family decided that they didn't want to just sell products in the U.S., but they wanted to make products in the U.S. And in 1974, Steel Incorporated began. And it's Steel Incorporated is the company, the U.S. headquarters, based right here in Virginia Beach. And back in 1974, we started with very humble beginnings. We had a 20,000 square foot facility with 50 employees making one model of chainsaw. And quite a bit has changed since then, because now we have over 1 million square feet with over 3,000 employees, and we make products, both battery and gas, that we ship all around the world to over 100 countries right here from Virginia Beach and from our ports. So we're very proud of it. We build in America because we care about America. Amen. And our relationship with Virginia and our hometown of Virginia Beach is essential to our growth and to our success. And a warm welcome to all the Steel associates that are here with us today. It's been a true partnership, and we thank Virginia Beach for all the support that they've given us throughout the years. You know, in 1985, Steel created the STIHL TIMBERSPORTS Series as a way of finding the best lumberjack sports athlete. Humble beginnings at county fairs and festivals, and it was discovered by ESPN. And as was stated earlier by Dave, this was the original extreme sport. And we started a worldwide broadcast with ESPN, initially in 4 countries. Today, in your presence, it's become a global phenomenon, and it's going to be, we have 27 countries providing athletes, and it's going to be seen by millions of people all around the world. And in fact, today's competition is being streamed live across the globe. Today's competition features our top U.S. athletes and will determine which U.S. athlete moves on to represent the United States at the World Championships in the Netherlands. So proudly, on behalf of all Steel associates, I just want to welcome everybody to this event and to Virginia Beach and enjoy today's competition. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Terry. Thank you very much for being here. Wow. Goosebump stuff. Who's ready to meet these athletes? 12 athletes have qualified to be here on stage to fight it out. So let's bring them out. Hey, from Walpole, New Hampshire, give it up for Trevor Beaudry. And all the way from Minneapolis, Minnesota, big round of applause for Cassidy Shear. From Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, Maddie Slingerland. From Marysville, Ohio, Grant Foreman. From Matthews, North Carolina, Ben Nicely. Coming all the way from Amsterdam, New York, big round of applause for Tyler White. Coming from the West Coast, Toll House, California, give it up for Walt Page. This man took 4th overall last year on this venue. From Morgantown, Pennsylvania, Josh Wilson. 1 year ago today, the world record was broke on this stage by this man. From Grafton, West Virginia, the 7-time U.S. champion overall, Matthew Koger. Our oldest and most likely most fit athlete qualified 4th yesterday, surprising the field. Big round of applause from Charleston, West Virginia, Arden Koger Jr. the man who won the title in this event last year, coming back to go for two from Diana, West Virginia, 6'6", 260, Jason Lentz. And our final athlete from California, North Fork, California, been training at 4,000 feet. One more big round of applause for the whole field, and Nate Hodges. And our final two gentlemen to bring on the stage, the head judges. It's been around since the beginning, coming all the way from New Hampshire, Rich Hallett. There he comes. Do they see you, Rich? And we have a visiting referee. Got to help out Rich today. So we have two refs on the stage, coming all the way from New Brunswick. There he is, Jonathan Russell. Welcome, Jonathan. And that is our field, ladies and gentlemen. Now at this point, if you can rise, if you are able, please remove your lids for the playing of our national anthem.
The STIHL Timbersports Trophy competition. In the trophy format, athletes have to complete 4 disciplines back-to-back. After the start, they need to cut a complete disc with the stock saw within a 10-centimeter area. From there, the athletes have to complete the underhand chop as quickly as possible. Only after they split the block can they return to the starting point, where this time, the single buck is waiting for them to cut one complete cookie. In the final discipline, the athletes have to complete the standing block chop in order to achieve the best possible overall time. Any rule infraction will result in a disqualification and the athlete will be eliminated. All participants must first demonstrate their skills in the time trial. The 4 fastest go straight through to the quarterfinals, while the 5th to 12th placed athletes battle it out in the last chance round in knockout duels for the remaining quarterfinal spots. The better the athletes perform in the time trial, the easier their first elimination round will be. The athletes now continue to compete in a knockout system through the quarterfinals and semifinals. The losers of the semifinals will fight for the last podium spot in a small final. After that, the 2 winners of the semifinals will compete one more time to see who takes the title.
Well, what an amazing day of action we had here yesterday with our time trials round. We have already sort of seeded the field, if you will. We've got a group that's going to come out to try to fight their way in head-to-head matchups in this relay event to try to battle into our single elimination finals. We can't emphasize enough the endurance factor that's going on here today. Those that advanced in the time trial round yesterday and made it through the last, or opted out, I should say, of the last chance qualifier are definitely going to have a huge advantage moving into today, Dave. This is all about endurance.
It really is, and it's not just getting through the 4 events. It's recovering. It's recovering for the next event. And we've seen it. This whole weekend has been about endurance. We've been watching are there any firefighters here watching today? We've been watching the Firefighters Challenge. There they are over there. Oh, man, I thought I had abs. Yeah. All right. Heat 1, it's got to be Trevor Beaudry and Cassidy Shear. I just want to tease that a little bit. These guys are ready to go. Cassidy Shear talks so much about lactic acid recovery, biomechanics, using everything so the arms are not just destroyed after these chopping events, because it really is a full body workout.
And by the time we get past the last chance qualifier and we get into the official knockout rounds, the single elimination tournaments, as we're advancing through, these guys are going to be full tilt, full body workout for a full minute straight with about 10 minutes in between rounds. But that 10 minutes isn't a 10-minute break. In that 10 minutes, well, they're probably going to talk to you if they advance, right? They have a little interview time. Then they got to go see Mike Slingerland out back, get their blocks set up and get prepared, get their lines drawn. Maybe go do, these guys have shipped in exercise bikes. There's been all kinds of strategy talked about on how to flush that lactic acid out, try to preserve your muscle tissue, because within a matter of minutes, you're going to be back on stage doing it all over again.
I was talking to Mike Slingerland, who's quite a nutritionalist. I've talked to him over my 25 years competing, and I said to Mike, I saw a couple athletes throwing down a sandwich 1 hour before this event. He goes, it's not a good idea. He says it takes 3 hours for that food to be out of your system and actually help you out. So there's some athletes that are, maybe they can get away with that. Yeah. Maybe they're just so relaxed and get away with that, but the more you talk about we're going to talk about Cassidy Shear. I think he's a great example of a man who's truly studied everything about this sport, not just the body, mind, the physicality, but the equipment too. And we'll see that equipment. You know, every athlete bringing out about, well, $6,000 worth of equipment nowadays.
Yeah, and that's just axes and the single buck. We're not talking about hot saws. We're not talking about springboards, any other specialized equipment.
No, we're not talking about the basic tools. The 2 boxes of axes they brought in the back that might not be used because they're just not suiting the wood today, these white pine logs.
All right, Dave. Well, I've got word that we are officially ready to launch this event. Let's bring out our first 2 lumberjack athletes.
Heat number 1. Let's bring them out. Trevor Beaudry versus Cassidy Shear. There he goes, Trevor Beaudry coming in on the left side of the stage. And he is not taking his time getting the equipment all set up properly, exactly where they will retrieve these axes. This will start with the stock saw. Identical steel MS-661s, 1 complete disc. They will then transition to the underhand, severing the front, turning, severing the back, making sure the log is completely severed. We had a mishap yesterday. Then on to the single buck.
Yeah, the single buck has really been sort of the dividing factor here in this endurance event. The single buck, typically, as Nathan Waterfield hollers out from the side of the stage, the single buck is typically an event that you really want to get your feet set in. You're taking measurements. You're placing your body. And these guys are going to be sprinting from their second discipline into the third discipline, the single buck, grabbing the saw and going. So we saw a lot of hung teeth, a lot of hung rakers. A lot of guys are not able to really settle in like they would normally, where they have a minute to set up their single buck. They now have about 30 seconds.
And they'll finish it off with a vertical chop.
Warm up your saws. Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Just the slightest delay from Cassidy Shear over on stand number 2, but still he is through the wood very quickly. Both these guys clean and clear to the wood. No violations that I see yet in terms of that center line, Dave. We had that issue yesterday with Josh Wilson.
Boy, Cassidy's just bringing a calm exterior demeanor. When he was going over to that underhand, he just had almost a smile on his face, looking like he's so anxious to just get this first heat over with a slight stick. Trevor Beaudry, though, rocked the underhand and all over the world, and that is his best technique. Your best technique has to be in your best event. Trevor Beaudry with a 1, 2, 3, 3.5, 4-stroke lead in the single buck. Into the middle wood, a 16-inch log. This is when the lactic acid starts to build up.
Yeah, but this is where Cassidy Shear is going to start to reel him in. Cassidy's an exceptional single sawyer. He started behind, but look at how close this race is going. Oh, a hang from Cassidy Shear. He's done himself a lot of good catching up, but had some trouble there at the end.
Shear is still in it, whether he knows it or not. Shear is in this race. He's an unbelievable standing block cutter. Beaudry had a glance in the back of the log, scooped, broke his axe. He's got a new axe. Cassidy into the backside.
It's going to be tough to make up this gap, though. Beaudry's got a good-looking front face on there. A couple hits got away from him towards the middle of the block, but you can just feel the fatigue. Beaudry's broke near. There it is far.
And it was one hit. One hit. I told you Shear was in it. After that disaster in the single buck, do not count out Cassidy. We do have a yellow flag early in the race today. We made it about halfway through the competition. The yellow flag does not necessarily mean it is a disqualification. They can review it. We have cameras all over the stage, on the stage and off the ceiling, catching every angle, so they may review it. Let's see what we're going to get the call from Rich Hallett in just a moment.
Yeah, my angle here is Jonathan seemed very interested in Cassidy's underhand axe, which is laying on the stage. It was not in the block. So I believe that is what they were looking at. I'm not sure what the call will be.
All right, gentlemen, we have a DQ over here on stand 2. The axe was not placed securely in the block. It fell out. That's a safety violation. Your cut was good.
Sometimes I hate it when I'm right. That's a tough break for Cassidy Shear.
Boy, Trevor, we say your best events have to be your best event. It seemed to be the underhand today. You got a 4-stroke lead against Cassidy going into the single buck, and you just ran with it from there.
Yeah, I've been fighting the single a little in this race. So I knew I needed it in the underhand, so I put the pace to it. The wood seems a little firm, but that suited me, and I cut it clean and just stuck with it. You had a
$700 axe, scoop out, hit the steel yesterday, ruined. You got a good backup?
Yeah, this one might be better.
Good luck. We'll let you go. Hey, big round of applause. He's moving on. He's going to race again. Trevor Beaudry.
Well, up on the big screen here, you get to see another run. We're going to watch this whole thing from start to finish. It may not look like much, but stand number 2, Cassidy Shear, just a tiny bobble. He came down and caught that chain break on his way down to the log, but it didn't hold him up. Great cut into the underhand first, Dave.
Boy, Cassidy, those long strides as if he had calculated how many steps it will take, and I believe he did. He did. So it is in a constant motion from stepping and then on and mounting the underhand.
Something went very wrong for Cassidy on his underhand chop. I wish I could have seen the front side of the log. But
here comes a disqualification on the right side of your screen. This is where Cassidy, it is the rule that has to be placed in this log. Watch the axe placement right here.
He just kind of tapped it in.
Well, it's still in there.
Right, but keep watching. Obviously, it falls out. So the rule, the key word here is securely.
Gotcha.
So it's got to be in that log to the point that it's going to stay in that log. And even from that replay, you could just see he sort of taps it into the log.
Well,
here's
where Beaudry opens up the window for Shear to get back in this race. Struggled at the bottom, hanging the teeth and rakers. Beaudry not known for his standing block ability, but it's been coming on as of late.
And if you look right now, that axe is still in the block for Cassidy Shear. I'm guessing it's the vibrations of the standing block chop. Every hit just wiggling that a little. Oh, and there it goes. So
that's
as simple as that seems,
Yep.
That's a disqualification because that axe is not secured to that block.
That's first we've seen. But watch now. Shear's catching up. That's one hit. Telling you, it was just a few strokes of that single block. I'm not understanding why a lot of the athletes are struggling in the single. It's 16-inch white pine. It's a big log. Not the biggest we've ever chopped, but sawed, but technical log.
And as you know, that's your baby. The single buck event is your discipline. I won't deny you that at all. But you know the time, the mental preparation, the setup, the foot placement that goes into that single buck event. Now they're asking you to cut a stock saw, cut an underhand, run across the stage, grab your saw, step back into a perfect single buck stance. You know as well as I do, a couple inches too close, a couple inches too far from the block, suddenly you're dumping the nose over on the saw, you're hanging the rakers. I say it's foot placement is what's getting these guys in this single buck event because they're rushing, understandably, into their stance.
And it's easy for me to sit here and say, oh, they're making mistakes in the single buck. But every
That's why we're
every
sitting
single
here.
buck race I've ever raced, I've never had to think, I've got to cut a standing block.
Yes.
After, as soon as it's done, so your mind is 2 or 3, you're too far ahead. Matt Koger said it the best. You have to look at this in stages. Don't think about stage number 4, step number 4. Just think about making that single buck cut. And it's amazing how simple that is, but it's difficult to
Simple to
coach,
say.
coach your mind, you know, especially when everything's on the line here. Grant Foreman, Pigeon Forge versus Marysville, Ohio. Matty Slingerland, a chance for redemption here. He was knocked out early last year by Josh Wilson, and you cannot tell me that is not festering in his mind right now. He's been training. I talked to his dad. I talked to his wife. They said he's been running full races nonstop. He's fit. Grant Foreman last year, he was laughingly referred to this as the vomit race, but I don't think he gives himself enough credit. Grant Foreman ranked 5th in the country right now. I think it's the time you have to doubt your doubts. He's doubting himself. This guy is a powerhouse athlete.
He is a powerhouse athlete. He is also a cerebral athlete. He is a very gifted, talented, well-respected engineer, and he applies that sort of analytical mindset to all of these disciplines, to the tools, to the technique, and it shows in his performances. He is a smart cutter out here, and smart cutters are efficient cutters. Efficient cutters save energy.
I think this race could be won or lost in the single. Watch the speed on the left of the stage of Slingerland.
Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
There is that patented one-handed start from Matty Slingerland.
Well, he got that off his back. Matty Slingerland hit the chain break yesterday. Clean run today and a 2-hit lead. Slingerland's into it with a 2-hit lead against Foreman. And man, is this guy good at cutting wood. He's going to want to maintain that lead going into the single buck.
Beautiful slabs of wood falling out of the front of Matty Slingerland's block. Pairs of hits, release chips, and he is taking this thing apart beautifully. 2 more blows of the axe ought to finish it. 1 more to the bottom. No, it's not coming apart. Took him an extra hit.
Sure cut. Watch the speed now, the transition. Matty Slingerland, the saw is not as aggressive, but it is fast.
Trouble for Grant Foreman in that underhand. I'm not sure what went wrong in that block, but he is now looking frazzled as he goes into that single buck. Saw a little bit sticky.
First
Matty
clean cut of the
Slingerland.
weekend. Slingerland has finally done it, shown the field how it is done. That is how you run a single buck cut. Now Slingerland is just going to relax, sit back, lay these hits in. He's got a half a block plus lead.
Into the backside of the log, 1 and 1. Now he goes after those juicy corner fibers. 2 in the bottom, 2 in the top. one more round of chips and watch him drive. He's going to go near. Maybe one in the guts. No, straight to the far side, but it didn't pay out. There it is.
Now let's keep it going for Grant Foreman. He's come a long way for this race. Just to qualify to be here is such a task.
I'm not sure what. Obviously, the wheels came off the cart for Grant, and that underhand from our angle, I can't really see the face of the chop. And there it is, Grant Foreman with that block to the stage.
And the winner is Matt Slingerland.
Pull right up so they can clean it. Matty, we'll do this real quick, buddy. Kind of monkey off your back. Yesterday, you hit the chain brake on the chainsaw. You said you haven't done that since you were 13 years old. Is that getting your mind a little bit? Because I know you're just looking for some redemption this year. Josh Wilson knocked you out last year.
Yeah, you can't think about stuff like that, Dave. You know, just a little mistake. I know what I did wrong, so just adjust like I know how to and just keep on trucking. The key here is to attack every race. So that's what I'm here to do.
Good job. Congratulations. There you go. Matty Slingerland, Pigeon Forge.
For your viewing pleasure, up on the big screen, we've got a replay going on here. You can see the head-to-head run. Both these guys fairly equivalent. Maybe Matt Slinger about a 2 or 1.5 swing head start on the underhand. And this, Dave, might be our chance to see what went well or didn't go well for Grant Foreman. I've already seen him working the handle of that axe a little bit, trying to retrieve the axe out of the block. May have just been a axe block incompatibility issue. There you see it again, and again.
I'm just watching Matty Slingerland. He and Matt Koger worked on the underhand technique. They were working on the timing back in February this year, just changing the timing, pulling it in, pulling that heel in and slicing. And boy, it worked. Slingerland running the whole saw smooth. And the back of the saw tells you everything. It's quite level. You shouldn't see the deviation and change. And that's it, simple. Made it look simple at least. And then the monstrous swings of Slingerland, reaching, I think, farther than normal, getting that axe way out there, letting that 7-pound axe head do the work.
We talked about this yesterday in our rookie division with the single buck saw in the single buck event. Andrew O'Connell, I said I felt like he looked slow, but he was so smooth. The saw was so smooth. The tendency right now is for everybody to run really aggressive saws, and they're having issues with hanging up the saw. Maybe setting the raker's a little different, not having it set so aggressive. We're going to see the smooth cuts like we just saw from Matt Slingerland, and those guys are going to advance. There's a quick look at, I guess we can't call it our leaderboard. It's our bracket here on Trophy Day. In the last chance rounds, it is going to be Beaudry advancing along with Slingerland. They will go through into quarterfinals. We've got 2 more last chance heats coming up. Again, we had our time trials yesterday. We took our top athletes, we seeded everyone, and the bottom 8 were seeded into this last chance qualifier to battle their way into the quarterfinals.
Looking at the sheet here, Kevin, couple big athletes coming up next. One of these guys, Matt Koger, the record holder. We're going to be repeating that over and over. Matt Koger, the record holder, but this guy gave him a run in the qualifying round last year. Almost took down the 7-time world champion, the record holder. We'll tell you about him when he comes out, but you never know. You can be the number 1 ranked athlete. Doesn't matter how many records you get on stage early season. You just cannot be complacent.
No, especially in this discipline, the trophy event, where you've got 4 different disciplines, each with their own unique variable. each of which could go very well or very wrong. You mentioned in that last heat, go back to time trials, Maddie Slingerland yesterday, an uncharacteristic issue getting the saw going in the stock saw event. If you were to ask me who is the fastest to the wood, who's the most consistent to the wood in the stock saw, I'd say, yeah, it's Matt Slingerland. Well, guess what? Yesterday he wasn't. Yesterday he went down and wadded the chain brake, locked the chain brake, and he, like you said, he hasn't done that in so long, if ever in recorded history. He didn't even recognize, he didn't even process what had happened.
That's what he said.
He
said,
then figure out
why
how to
is the
fix
saw
it.
not running? We heard him talking this morning to the other athletes. He said, why is the saw not running?
Yeah.
Well, you engaged the chain brake. Chain brake did what steel wants it to do. Stop the chain.
Yes.
But like I said, he hadn't done that since he was 13. Heat 3 of the U.S. Trophy event. Ben Nicely and Tyler White. Here's the big guy, Ben Nicely. He's the one that gave the U.S. champion a run from his money last year. Massive wingspan. Ben Nicely, number 27, getting his axe set right in there. He's got his axe chalked up. Tyler White as well. They've got that chalk on their hickory axe handles. Totally legal. Little slide chalk, even a little less friction on that hickory handle. Look at these blades, so polished. They're made in Australia, they're made in New Zealand, $700 a piece. But then they have to be ground. 13, 14, 15 degree angle. The grind has to suit this wood, not just the grind. That edge, that final edge that has to be stoned, that has to suit the wood.
Yeah, and when I was first getting started competing, and probably the same for you, you had one axe. And then maybe you got two axes, one for pine, one for poplar. These guys are showing up with boxes of axes for different species of wood, different conditions for the wood, different disciplines. Tons of equipment coming out here.
Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Oh, White was fast. Tyler, don't count him out. Tyler White on the right side of your stage with the speed. Slight lead over Nicely. Nicely, massive swing, scraping the rafters.
Yeah, Nicely had just a little bit of a hang up on his opening blow. The heel of the axe got in a little too low and hung up. Great stock saw run leading into this underhand event. You could just feel the reverberations in this stage. Both those guys are right in the sweet spot. One more, two more now for Tyler White. I'm a little concerned, though. You see Ben Nicely dove that axe into the holding block. Tyler White, though, a little bit of a tap.
Yeah, Nicely almost split that holding block there. Absolutely beautiful style. Look at Ben gritting, reaching for the log, throwing the whole length of the saw in there, the whole belly, throwing it to the handle. One last breath, and into the standing block goes the massive swing of Ben Nicely. Tyler White, a miss hit on top. That will cost him.
Beautiful cut, though, from Ben Nicely over here as he reaches around, holds lots of wood on that far side, and picks it up beautifully. Each of those hits chasing one right after the other. And as you mentioned, trouble on stand two for Tyler White. Had a hit get away from him, go way high and flat. Nicely should have about one more into this. There it is. Ben Nicely drives off the standing block.
Boy, look at Tyler White, though. He's driving that log not far behind. That axe is working. That's a great swing. But it's very difficult to catch up with Ben Nicely, especially when he beats you in the underhand. That's two nice single butt cuts in a row.
And by nice, smooth. Smooth. No hang-ups, clean cut. Rich and Jonathan making their way around, checking everything out. A lot to watch for our judges in this trophy event.
And the winner is Ben Nicely.
I don't know how you pulled your axe out of there. I think there's no other athlete that sunk their axe in there farther. Just an insurance policy. Boy, when you got to that final standing block, it looked like a fast, hard hit, like you were just delivering and then making sure that log came off.
Well, I know Tyler's a good standing block cutter. I know how to place my hits exactly where I wanted them in order to come off first there.
Sometimes if you slow down the hit a little bit, is that an advantage? Is it more accurate, more power?
I think for some guys, to slow down is an advantage. Other guys are better at going faster. Maybe if they slow down, they'll mess up their cadence.
Rest up, buddy. You're moving on. You go. Big round of applause. Ben Nicely.
Dave, sounds like a classic case of smooth is fast. And that's what we haven't seen in the single buck event, and it's really been kind of that pivotal moment for everybody's trophy run. Let's go back and take another look at this head-to-head matchup. You see both these guys coming off of their stock saw into the underhand. You saw that hang up from Nicely, just a temporary delay though, and then he got his pace going, he got his rhythm going.
You know, and Ben's he's mastering the basics, what we were taught. Line up your toes, line up your hips, line up your shoulders, pull that axe right down the nose, the center line of your body, line up with the hits, and that's what he did. It's simple, it works, and that's, you just have to maximize your strengths. Try not to push your ability to the limit. Don't go beyond your ability in this race.
Yeah, stay in your lane for sure. Great smooth cut. You see it there from Ben Nicely on stand number 1. Again, it sounds like such an elementary thing, but have the saw tuned for your sawing style and your personal level of the single buck. The guys that are winning in the single buck are smooth in the single buck. That's as simple as it gets.
And watch the real estate that Nicely on your left here covers. There's an acceleration. A lot of people, you'd have to slow it down, but he pulls it in and then releases. And there's this acceleration, and it actually creates a slice of the axe blade. The heel presents itself to the wood first. The toe comes around, and it's like pulling your knife across a steak. It's effortless.
Well, if we're talking about knives and steaks, that makes him a really great butcher. He did a wonderful job taking that block apart.
It looks easy, and it's not. Tyler White, not far behind. There's so many places Tyler White could have gained ground.
Yeah, you can see by the time Tyler got to that stand block, the fatigue is setting in. That really starts to impact your hits, your locations, your pattern. Boy, we're getting a great look downstage right now at Ben Nicely's block, his underhand block, standing up on end. That looks like one continuous blow of the axe, even though that was probably 3 rounds of hits to get to the middle. What a beautiful, smooth, clean chop from Ben Nicely, and that underhand matched up very well with his standing block chop.
Foot placement. Foot placement. It's all what it's about. And that's what everyone says. If you're having trouble, start from the beginning. Foot placement.
Yep.
Line up your feet right. Don't be cocked up over. Don't have one foot out of line with the other, and that's where the problem and that's where the solution starts. A lot of times the solution is staring you in the face, and it's begging to be discovered if you're in a slump.
Well, looking at our bracket board here up on the big screen, we have Beaudry, Slingerland Nicely advancing with one last chance qualifier to go. And in this last chance qualifier, heat number 4 or last chance number 4, I gotta admit,
I can't pick it. I'm looking at it. We'll bring him out in a second. I can't pick it. You got a favorite in this one?
I don't have a favorite, but I have a curiosity, and that's Josh Wilson. Josh Wilson, if you told me Josh Wilson would be cutting in the last chance qualifier, I'd have called you a liar. But after the round in the time trials and the difficulty yesterday, I'm very curious to see how he responds after the events of yesterday.
We're going to have an East-West Coast showdown in this next heat. We have another athlete coming from the West Coast, trains at 4,000 feet. He said he was just training for this event, training to exhaustion, so he just could not lift the axe anymore. And I remember thinking, that's great, but is that enough? We're not fully exhausted. We're not passing out in the stage. Everybody's quite fit, so you have to take yourself to the point where you are going to be. You're not going to be training to. You're not going to be swinging that axe in full exhaustion. That adrenaline's going to pull these athletes through. But that man took second last year. He says he could have won it. I believe it. We'll talk about him in a moment. But we have another athlete from California living right down the road from that gentleman. As soon as we get the stage cleared off and everything landing on our table over here.
We had a little snowstorm go through.
Everything for the stage is now over here.
Yes. That's fine. That's
These
for
are our
both of
paper
I mean,
weights.
Right.
We need some
all of our
heavier
years,
paper weights.
all of our years in competition. You still as an active chainsaw carver, furniture maker, me in the tree industry. If I didn't come home covered in sawdust, there would be suspicions.
All right, fourth heat. Let's bring him out. Here's the man from Toll House, California, Walt Page. And the gentleman who took fourth place overall in the bronze medal round. Big round of applause for Josh Wilson. Morgantown, Pennsylvania versus Toll House, California. And again, I can't pick it, Kevin. I'm going to give a slight advantage to Walt Page. I asked Walt, how are you feeling? Are you ready to go today? He said, yes, and walked away. And I said, okay. I go, good talk, Walt.
Yep.
And that's what you get out of Walt Page.
Yes.
He's emotionless. He's motionless. He's economical. He seems effortless, but he just goes after it. And he's one of these athletes, whatever. I wish I had a better word. It just makes it look easy. The presentation is there.
Well, and I'm having flashbacks too, Dave. Here's our man, we're getting old moment. Our first ever Walt Page moment was when you and I were calling the collegiate series, and we were at San Luis Obispo College for the collegiate event, and he was our collegiate competitor from the West Coast. And Walt Page came on that stage, made his cut, just looked at
notice the position of his standing block.
Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Slight advantage, Josh Wilson on stand number 2. Oh, but it's a dead heat coming out of the bottom of that log. From the first time we ever met Walt Page, his stock saw has been epic. Watch these guys draw big chips out, pairs of hits, releasing those beautiful slabs of wood. It is Wilson around to the backside, about 2 blows ahead of Page.
Josh Wilson shocking us all 2 years in a row. A monstrous lead, and this could be his best event. It's off. Wilson, he's won the national title in the single buck, and this is the technique that propelled him in that Timber Sports win. Look at Wilson pulling the whole saw, the belly, the teeth, the rakers reaching to the handle. But he's starting to slow down, and here comes Page.
Yeah, and there's that hang in the bottom part of the wood when we get into the skinny timber. Walt Page just had a beautiful, smooth run, probably gained a second on Wilson in that single buck. But you can see Wilson, he's fatiguing. Look at that chop. He's stepping in his hits. I don't think it's that good of a block. I don't think he's shorting his face.
Somehow, somewhere, Wilson needs to find more.
Yeah,
Page in the backside of the block. Wilson driving. Wilson needs this. One more hit. He's done it. 2 years in a row, the upset. Josh Wilson digs deeper and wins the heat.
One blow of the axe separating Walt Page and Josh Wilson. What an amazing race for these two athletes. Wilson battling back after a disappointing run in time trials. Just great action on stage today.
And the winner is Josh Wilson.
Well, Josh, two years in a row, we didn't count you out, but we thought, are you going to keep up? And you just bring another level. How are you feeling?
Tired, but
you're smiling.
Yeah. I mean, I use my size to an advantage for this. Although that guys are smaller, I just use all the horsepower I can. Problem is, it drains the tank pretty quick, so we'll see how fit I am today.
All right, congratulations. Rest up from Morgantown, Pennsylvania. He's moving on. Josh Wilson.
Well, here's our replay of that last round. Both these guys, very great stock sawyers. It was advantage Wilson just to the wood. It doesn't look like much, but if you watch that carefully, we're searching for tenths and hundredths of seconds, and Josh Wilson had some there. I think, though, that Walt actually reeled him in through the cut.
I think Josh feeds off of it, though. I think he gets this lead, and he's just a pit bull. He absolutely attacks it. He goes after it. he did that last year, and he was smiling like he was almost enjoying just knocking one athlete out after another. I tell you, this is goosebump stuff. I love it. This is the most exciting heat of the whole weekend in my mind.
Yeah, and what you got to keep in mind, though, too, is these guys that are winning in this round, they're going to go into the next round against fresh athletes, guys who haven't run already. So our last chance qualifiers are on an even bigger uphill battle.
So Josh is going to come off in the single buck. He's got a big lead in which you're going to need against Walt Page. Walt Page, beautiful timing in the standing block. And this event suits him, as does the springboard, even when he's up 8 feet in the air. And Wilson, such a powerhouse. But it was one hit. He needed that. I said somewhere Wilson needs to find more, and this is why. One hit.
Did a beautiful job at the end of that standing block. We want to see that second to last driving blow be that near driving blow, so it sort of opens the window for you. It turns the top of that block and opens up the cut. That leaves him a wide open shot, beautiful vantage point to drive those far fibers off. Let's take one more look here at our brackets as we exit our last chance round. Our last chance qualifiers are going to be Beaudry, Slingerland, Nicely, and Wilson will all advance into the quarterfinals. So congratulations to those guys. But again, Dave, like we said, they're going to be going against fresh athletes who had a bye run coming in today. We'll start that action when we get back right after this break.
Your neighborhood Ace carries a full lineup of STIHL gas and battery outdoor power equipment and accessories. Shop STIHL at acehardware.com. Choose in-store pickup or free delivery to your door.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Duluth Trading Company was born from generations who showed us that the only way to live life is to live it hands-on.
To do it the hard way. To take the trail untrodden. To take the damn thing apart, put it back together, and have the world be better for it.
We don't think that the go all in, dig deep, and get your hands dirty spirit exists in everybody.
We know it does. Duluth Trading. Take on life with your own two hands.
Let's roll, let's go.
When we work in harmony, anything is possible.
Just 3 words tell you everything you need to know. They tell you why we employ more than 2,000 workers at our factory in Virginia Beach, and why over 10,000 local steel dealers are putting battery power in the hands of Americans. Not everyone can say them, but we can. Made in America. Real steel. Find yours.
We have already had an exciting day here, and that was just our last chance round. Those were our bottom 8 out of time trials as they were seeded yesterday, all fighting to advance into the quarterfinal rounds, and we have done that. A tough round of last chance qualifiers, but Dave, I think for both of us, that last heat sort of took the cake.
First heat of the quarterfinal round, the world record holder from Grafton, West Virginia, Matthew Koger. And his opponent, Trevor Beaudry. Matty Koger on the left side of your stage. Broken world records. Won the national championship, has yet to win this U.S. trophy event. Matt Koger, third generation timber sports athlete. 250, 6'3", solid. Trevor Beaudry is going to give him a run, Trevor. That underhand technique. He's going to need every ounce of that to keep up with Koger. But we've seen upsets. Will we see another?
Warm up your saws. Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Oh, there it is on stand number 2. Trevor Beaudry grabbing the chain brake on the way down. I don't think he actually set the chain brake, but it definitely got his hand and knocked it backwards.
Matt Koger made a thick disc in the stock saw event. That is intentional. What that has done is shrunk the disc of the single buck to free up that single buck cut. I love it. Such a cerebral move. Off he goes in the underhand already. Here's the single buck that he's been working on. It can go good. It can go bad. Beaudry not far behind him. Matt Koger into the big wood. Now into that difficult small wood. He wants to keep that saw level.
Yeah, you can hear the chattering of that saw. It means one of two things. Either he's getting some wind on the side of that plate, or he may not have had that saw perfectly plumb. Oh, that axe is loving that block, and he is bringing beautiful form as he rolls around. That last hit didn't go quite as far as I'm sure he would have hoped, but it isn't going to matter. It is Matt Koger wading through the back of this block, just destroying it with one more in the guts.
Boy, Matt Koger came off and glared at that log bouncing off the stage. And that is absolute blue-collar toughness. Matt Koger looking for that trophy win. Matt will do a quick interview.
And the winner is Matt Koger.
Thanks, Matt. Come on up here real quick. Let's get down to business. Matt, you broke the world record on this stage 1 year ago today. There was some chatter from around the timber sports world that the only reason you broke that record was because the logs were soft. Your reply, I put more hits in those logs than the previous world record holder. What more do you want? My question is, does it get frustrating feeling you have to defend these records? And are records ever broke on logs that aren't soft?
I'm not going to have to defend what I do on the stage. Whatever happens on the stage, that's the way it is. And you have to have the good wood to set a record, and you got to be ready for it. And last year, I was just putting out like I always do on this stage, give it 100%, and give or take whatever happened, and the world record came out.
Go get him, buddy. Rest up. There you go. Matt Koger, always willing to give a great interview from Grafton, West Virginia.
I love your statement, Dave. Are world records ever broken not on softwood? And it's really like Matt said, it's got to be that intersection. It's got to be the right piece of timber, the right tool, and you as the athlete have to be prepared. You have to accept that moment to make that happen as quick as possible as we go back and watch this replay from Matt Koger and Trevor Beaudry.
Well, Matt, not only is his delivery fast, but it's the recoil of the axe. He's getting that axe out right at the end of the swing, and that is difficult to master that timing.
We watch as he moves over to the single buck event. Again, the hang-ups, the glitches we saw in the time trials, and even our rookie division yesterday, they are seemingly, I don't want to say they're totally gone, but we seem to see a reduction in it. I don't know if guys retooled, changed their method, whatever, but we're seeing smoother cuts with fewer hang-ups.
And Matty looking right into those down hits, and boy, are his cuts smooth. Could have reached a little farther on that far hit. He's aware of that. But I know he loves it when he gets into these standing block chops. You can see after that single buck came off, clean disc, he was relieved. He said, almost like, let's have some fun. Let's rip this standing block off. And oh, by the way, he holds the world record in that standing block.
Yeah, so Matt Koger is obviously advancing through quarterfinals to semifinals. We're going to find out who he's going to go up against based on the results of quarterfinal number 2, which is going to be coming up here in just a minute. I meant to mention this earlier, and now is as good a time as any. We got to say hi and thank you to our Granite State Wood crew, our deck crew out here, and all of their Duluth trading gear. Ladies and gentlemen, if you could give that crew in the black and tan a big round of applause. I hope you're watching them while you're listening to us, because they are working their tails off. It is a constant negotiation between television, competitors, the wood crew. All of these pieces need to come together, and you could not ask for a harder working, more professional, and I might add fun-loving bunch of people than the Granite State crew that is in charge of all the mechanical stuff behind the scenes here. So Dave, myself as a fully retired lumberjack competitor, you as I don't know, can we call you semi-retired? I mean, you're still out there most weekends.
I mix it up with
mix it up. What are your thoughts as far as how significant of an advantage is it to have had the bye, to have avoided the last chance round and moved right into the semifinals? You look at, we just saw Beaudry go against Matt Koger. Beaudry had to battle through the last chance round just to meet up with the world record holder in semifinal number 1. I mean, it's a huge disadvantage, I would think, to have to go into this matchup in semifinal round after already having one round under your belt.
That's a good question, Kevin. I think it's different for every athlete. Mentally, you'd want that cut. You'd want to go. You want to go through all 4 events, get that out of your system. I talk to everybody. Everyone has a different answer. They would say, I wish we had one more race. I wish we had one more race. Some of these athletes, they'd race 4, they just lose, and they'd say, I wish I had one more because I'm starting to come into my zone. Their opponent was starting to die. They go, I'm starting to feel good now.
Yeah.
And that's, I think it's different. I think everyone's physicality is different. If you don't race that first race, you better be out back going through the motions. You better be stretching. You better be on the stationary bike. You better be swinging your axe, doing something. I think they do allow a log to test your axes. You cannot warm up in it, so you have to be creative. But you have to get warm, whether you're racing or whether you're getting warmed up. All right. Heat 2 in the quarterfinal round. Arden Koger Jr. versus Matty Slingerland. Arden Jr. started 1987. He started this sport. He said to me this morning, I've never been so relaxed. It's not that I don't care. I don't care if I lose. I think that's what he's saying.
Right,
I think it's dangerous to the opponent's relaxation. But is he fit? Qualified 4th, always training, went down to Australia. He was training up in Queensland. His season started a long time ago.
Once again, I can't emphasize enough the time factor.
This is going to be a close. I don't mean to talk about. This is going to be a close race. This is going to be tight. Go ahead, Kevin. Until I interrupt you again.
Again, or still. But yeah, I can't emphasize that time factor enough. 1 minute to come out here and get mentally prepared, get your axes in position, get your starting cut, and get set up for the stock saw event.
Warm up your saws. Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Hear that note, Dave? That is synchronized song at its finest. That is both guys right getting the most they can out of those MS 661s.
Maddie Slingling on the right using an 8-inch wide axe. Junior choosing to go for the smaller, lighter axe. The advantage, speed. Look at the transition, less than 1 second. Maddie got the big wood out of the back. Junior with a slight stick, and boy, does that just suck the energy out of you.
Yeah, I just watched 2 blows right in a row for Arden Koger Jr. where that axe did not want to release out of the block. You like to say that's riding a bike uphill and hitting a pothole. Just absolutely stops it. Look at Maddie Slingling. Played the Matt Koger card with that thick first cut. You see the slab of wood falling off for Arden Koger Jr.
Junior has gained ground.
Maybe
a
3 or 4
three-hit
hits.
lead. Here comes Arden Jr., one of the best standing block choppers the United States has seen, if not the world. And Slingling around to the back. This will dictate it. The accuracy of the opening, missed the far hit. Junior taking the big wood out. He's gaining ground. Is it enough?
I don't think it is, and it's not going to be enough. Very good cut from Arden Koger Jr., but just too much to make up against Matt Slingling. I did get concerned for Matt Slingling on the backside of that standing block. The block got, or his backside got up high on the backside of that block. I was worried he was going to end up getting stumped on that thing.
Third generation timber sports athlete, Maddie Slingling. We're going to do a quick interview with Arden Jr. I'm not sure if he's third or fourth generation, but we'll ask him in a moment.
And the winner is Matt Slingerland.
We're going to talk with a man I've competed against since 1987. Arden Jr., boy, you started the season early. You were down in Queensland training. I don't know if you're 53, 54. Third or fourth generation timber sports athlete?
I am a third generation. My kids are fourth. And so it's been in my family for a long, long time. And I'm happy for that. To me, it's you see me and my cousin Matthew, we're here competing together. And I'm long in the tooth, but I still have a lot of go for an old guy. So I'm glad to be on this stage because if I can keep up with these young guys, it's good enough for me.
We'll be seeing you in Milwaukee in just a few months.
Oh, I'll give it all I got.
All right, big round of applause. He just doesn't want to go away. Arden Koger Jr., always fit.
Well, and Dave, to be fair, we don't want him to go away either.
I know. Well, people say that to me, so I figured I could say it back to someone else. But I've had Jason Lentz say to me, "You just won't go away, will you?" I said, "No."
Let's go back and watch this replay. There's Arden on the left, Maddie Slingling on the right. We talked about the hang-ups in that underhand block for Arden Koger Jr. There you see one right there where he's got to give an extra shimmy on that handle. The axe just was not liking that wood, did not want to release out of that block. That just interrupts your cadence, it interrupts your rhythm, and it really slows the process down. Not just that nanosecond it takes to get the axe out, but the recovery to follow up afterwards.
Well, watch Junior, though. Watch him gain ground right now. His pace, he does not use as long of the saw as Slingerland, but he has that power zone, uses the belly of the saw. It says that works for him, and he's going to use it today. But he's such an accomplished standing block chopper. I feel like he needed maybe a bigger log to suit him. But It was not, it was just not enough to gain Slingerland. Slingerland, I could see his face looking right down on Maddie in that single block. Just grit and determination.
I was a little nervous for Maddie in the backside of that standing block. It doesn't show up well in the TV shot here, but he really stepped up the backside as he came around, didn't really get his feet in the right position. Again, these guys don't get the time to set up, to mark out their foot positions and really get settled in and concentrate on each discipline independently. And that sometimes shows things like the second side of your standing block, setting up for your single block, all those little moments where you'd want to have more prep time and really understand where your feet are going to be. Well, we're starting to paint a picture of the semifinal round. We know it's going to be Matt Koger and Matt Slingerland. Very fitting. I love watching these two battle it out. You throw Jason Lentz in the mix, and you've got 3 childhood buddies that all traveled around the series watching their dads and cousins and grandpas compete. These are the kids that were like you know, they had their toy wooden axes when you and I were chopping around and traveling down into West Virginia, and now they're on this stage going head-to-head in the biggest matchup in the country.
I know. When I started the sport, I was battling against Jason Lentz. I was battling against Mike Slingerland, Paul Koger, and I was like, oh, I gotta deal with your kids now.
Yes.
And of course, they're huge.
Yes.
I'm like, well, you know, you see them come up, and I'm secretly thinking, oh, I hope they don't get in this sport. I hope they don't. And then sure enough, Matt Koger at 16 was ranked the hardest hitter in the country.
Yes.
At 16.
Yep.
And he just has not looked back. He told me he wants to give it 7 more hard years in this sport, everything he has. Not that he's going to throw it away, but he feels for the peak of his physical career, that's it ahead of him.
Well, and what is interesting and scary is we see a lot of our athletes, yes, we're watching where they peak physically, but I say as important, if not more important, is where they peak mentally. I see a lot of guys come out in their 20s, and they're probably in the best physical shape of their life, but mentally, they've got weak fuses up there. They're running like a 10-amp fuse. And as Matt Bush always used to say, that go signal blows a lot of fuses for our young competitors and even our old competitors. When these guys start getting into their mid-30s and their late 30s and even their early 40s, or even Arden Koger Jr. getting into his mid-50s, that mental piece sets in. Those fuses harden up. They're running 40-amp fuses now. It takes a little bit more to blow that fuse and rattle their cage. So I don't think we've seen the next 7 years for Matt Koger could be his most lethal in the sport.
Yeah, they say mid to late 30s. But look at Lawrence O'Toole. We'll talk about him in a moment. The Australian representative in the Aussie Trophy event. I believe he's 42. He smoked the field this year. Yeah. He's just tearing it up around the world. He's been lighting it up in Australia. He's going to be in Rotterdam in the Netherlands. He's predicted that Jason Lentz will be joining him there. So we know all the athletes saw that online, that little interview. And people saying, oh, did you hear what Lawrence O'Toole said? You hear what he said? You hear what he said? He said Jason Lentz is going to be there. So they're all fired up. They know. But we'll see. He's coming out right now. Third heat of the quarterfinal round from Diana, West Virginia, Jason Lentz against Ben Nicely. Ben Nicely still there. Jason Lentz, our returning champion from 2022. And he said to me this morning, Dave, I've got room for that trophy next to the one I've got last year. But is that confidence? Is it arrogance? Is it confidence? What is it, Holtzy?
Well, it's confidence, because arrogance is when you can't back it up. And Jason Lentz can back it up. And going back to the comments made by Lawrence O'Toole, that's not just him throwing names or picking his buddy or whatever. Jason Lentz was in Australia with Lawrence O'Toole for weeks this
6
year.
weeks.
Yeah.
6 weeks. He trained. He went down in January, spent 6 weeks training with O'Toole. And he said not just Lawrence training him, he's training Lawrence. He pushed Lawrence hard. He pushed Lawrence hard to win that Aussie Trophy event. Lawrence did it. It was I couldn't help but to cheer him on. Lawrence is in his 40s, and he got knocked out last year, and you always kind of root for him. Is he done? Is he done? Nope, he's back.
No, he's
in a big way.
He's absolutely there. And so for Lawrence to kind of give that nod to Jason, he knows
Warm up
he's
your
been watching him
saws.
all winter.
Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Very clean start to our stock saw event. Both these guys right through the bottom.
Boy, Lentz just attacked that stock saw. He threw that saw in. The saw rattled a little bit, found its way. That bar settled in. But he's lucky, but he's got a clean cut. He's got a slight lead. Nicely, advantage, speed, Nicely. And Lentz lost his balance slightly. That is given Nicely about a half a hit swing. Lentz is going to have to go.
Yeah,
he's going to have to dig in and find more here.
I don't see the pace from Jason Lentz that we normally see out of him. Oh, Nicely has to go back and
Nicely
throw
went
one
back.
last
Lentz
hit
back in the race. Well, here's the single buck. Lentz is so powerful. He's done these logs in 8 strokes.
Oh, but a big hang up. Right, uncharacteristically, right in the middle of the block. Normally we see trouble at the top, trouble at the bottom. Nicely is staying right with him, about 3 pushes behind. Oh, and trouble at the end. He tried to heel that saw off.
About a 4-5 hit lead for Lentz, and he is not one to put a shortcut in the front. That's a massive front. Looking good. What an insurance policy. Party in the back if he can just line up his hits. And look at him just driving off the back leg.
Yeah, he was an 1.5 inches past center line on the front side of that block. More than did his job on the front side of the log. All credit, though, to Ben Nicely. Also with a beautiful front on his standing block chop.
Absolutely.
What a great technician. You got to be absolutely 110% on your game.
Yeah, boy, does Ben Nicely deserve to be up here. You could just see how clean that block is. He had a couple hits he splashed in yesterday. But he was going. If he hadn't tripped off the anticipated log, he hadn't fallen forward. We'll see that on the replay in a moment. He would have put Lentz in maybe a panic mode. I don't think Jason would have panicked, but it's just it's uncharacteristic for Lentz to be behind in the underhand.
And the winner is Jason Lentz.
Do a quick interview with Jason Lentz. Jason went down to Australia in January, started training. He's trained with the Aussie champion, Lawrence O'Toole. I heard a great interview with Lawrence O'Toole. He said, we never stop aging in the sport, but we also never stop learning. What's the most important thing you learned by training with O'Toole this winter?
Oh, just the perseverance of wood chopping. They live, eat, sleep, breathe the sport down there. So every little advantage you can get. Lawrence, he has studied the sport more than any axeman I know, and he shows a lot of good pointers, Dave.
Thanks a lot. You're moving on. Jason Lentz.
Well, Dave, here we see both of these athletes moving into the underhand chop, virtually a dead heat.
Trouble happens in the backside, though. Watch Lentz on the left. He's going to lose his balance a little bit. Watch, he's going to make the turn, and right there, had he stepped off, though, but he gained his balance. Didn't go for the hit. He held up. He said, whoa, I can't swing the axe. Let's get feet flat on the wood. The ABCs of wood chop. Let's go back. Feet flat, square up, get this log off. Step 3, single buck.
Yeah, and then we see also the trip up there from Nicely at the end of his chop. Thought he had it, didn't quite have it. He had actually gotten all the way to setting his axe into the dummy log, as we call it, that would hold it, thinking the event was over, realized the block wasn't done, had to go back and reset. That was a big defining moment. I don't know that he would have still had enough for Jason Lentz in the standing block chop, but it definitely set him behind.
Look at the positioning, though, of the standing block. Lentz shifted his standing block by 90 degrees, exactly what Walt Page discovered, deciding he would save him a half to one step entering the front of that block.
Yeah, and that
great move.
That half to one step is a half to 1 second, and that could be, when we get into the finals round, that could be the difference between gold and silver.
Look at the massive front in this replay.
Oh, yeah.
Lentz just does not panic. He doesn't short. I'm telling you, even if he was behind, he'd still stay in that front, put a massive front in.
Well, the right way to cut a block is the right way to cut a block, whether you're in the lead or whether you're behind. The key difference is having the mental power to stay there and do the job at hand. Getting there, we always say, like, first to turn is not first to finish. Getting around to the front side isn't necessarily going to get you through that block faster, even though every fiber in your being is like, I got to get around and I got to finish this block. Stay. Do your job in the front side. Make sure you haven't taken out a loan on the front side of that log. There you can see we're starting to put together our picture for semifinal number 2 with Jason Lentz advancing. A very tough matchup coming up in quarterfinal number 4, which is our final quarterfinal. We are whittling this field down. And for those of you that are here in this live event, remember, these athletes, as they come back out, you're now seeing some guys that are at least out here for their second time, if not their third time. So we really got to get some noise behind them. They're running out of gas in the tank, and we could use every bit of encouragement that you guys can provide for them.
Big race coming up next.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, boy. Here we go. East-West Coast. What was I going to say? I was going to say something. I can't remember. But Jason Lentz, oh yeah, what was I going to say? Jason Lentz, he was talking about the Aussies, eat, sleep, breathe, wood chopping, and a lot of them start at 5 years old. 5 years old, and Jason Lentz, he started when he was young, took a break, came back. But his dad was teaching him at a young age. You've got that memory in there, Matt Koger, Arden Koger. But what an advantage. Can you imagine that, starting any sport at 5? You see the springboarders, especially down under, but they're so willing to give up technique, give up their advice, but it's so difficult to catch someone who's been in a sport 15 years before we even start, just coming out of college.
Absolutely. Then you throw the multi-generational side of it. I'll tell you who's not multi-generational. One of our competitors in this next heat, a relative rookie. Like, this is just unbelievable how much he's come on in the past few years.
From North Fork, California, the silver medal winner from last year, Nate Hodges. And from Morgantown, Pennsylvania, moving on, Josh Wilson. Here he is in the quarterfinal round. So I'd say we have to give advantage to Hodges. So he's the gentleman we're talking about, training at 4,000 feet, just pushing. He said he was taking down trees, taking down dead trees, and just chopping them till there was nothing left. Just building up muscle, building up endurance. You'd probably have to give him the most fit athlete award. He went over, mixed it up with the firefighters yesterday, and I could tell he said they beat me, but I'd love to have another go at that.
In what the conversation that I heard based on his experience over at the firefighters challenge, and oversimplifying that, but just like somebody that comes here to see this sport, when you go to participate in that sport, he goes, boy, did my eyes get open to the technique side of things. From people outside looking into this sport.
That's why he wanted to go again. He said, oh, I see the technique. I can do that.
Yeah. And not that he was going to win the championship in his first year, but seeing that technique, those little tweaks.
Warm up your saws. Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Trouble for Wilson on stand number 2. He also slapped the chain brake on his way down to the saw, though. Didn't slow him down much. He's got the go on.
Well, watch the speed of Nate Hodges. He's actually choked up on that axe. He's not sliding his hand. This is called a clubbing technique. Head down, just an uncommon speed. Unbelievable. Not from this planet power is Nate Hodges on the left side.
He's also got his metal logger caulks on, absolutely nailed down to that block as he puts in his final driving blows. He also pointed out, and I want to point out to the folks at home, he's got his block away from his underhand. He said, I'm not going to stop to put my axe down. It's got to be on its way.
That's a freshly filed saw out of Canada that Nate Hodges running right now. Look at the noodles coming out. One more stroke, and he says, that's all I need. Into the standing block chop. Once he gets it open, that's when he winds up the speed. Hodges, he represented the United States on the U.S. relay team, cutting the final standing block, and this is why. One missed hit, he's picked it up and into the back. It looks like he could win this race.
Nate Hodges and I both made the same noise at the same time, and that was, He missed that hit. He went back and tried to pick it up again, missed it in the same exact spot. And mid-competition, you could hear a little groan of frustration from Nate Hodges when he just could not pick up that far up hit on the back side or the front side of that standing block.
Yeah, Nate Hodges not looking happy. That's not because he's breathing heavy. He's not breathing heavy. He wants another, again, like the Firefighters Challenge, he wants another go at this. He is fit. He's ready. But, you know, he looked at that scoop in the standing block, the science of cutting that scarf. It wasn't his best, but he's going to go again. That's all you can get. There's no wasted race. There's never a wasted race.
And the winner is Nate Hodges.
Nate, I want to say great cut, but you know you could have cut that standing block better at all. I mean, you've got this expression on your face like you're ready to go again. You just want to, is it the front of the log you had trouble with, a slight scoop?
Yeah, I kept trying to put that far hit in. Kept running away from me. Tried to fix it. I didn't fix it, so I just got the heck out of there. Figure I'll just deal with it on the backside. So.
I noticed it's your underhand axe. You've got some tape. It's actually allowed you to choke up. Is it just more in your power zone? It suits Nate Hodges?
Yeah, I go for speed. Over the last 5 years, I've done lots and lots of testing with my underhand, and this is what works for me. So.
And training at 4,000 feet, we keep talking about that. You're fit?
I'm more fit than I ever have been. Let's just put it that way.
I'll let you go race. I'll let you go rest up. Big round of applause coming all the way from North Fork, California, Nate Hodges.
Well, and that's going to set our field for our semifinal round. That was our final quarterfinal matchup with Koger, Slingerland, Lentz, and Hodges all advancing. Semifinal number 1 is going to be Matt Koger up against Matt Slingerland. Then it's going to be semifinal round number 2 with Jason Lentz up against the man we just heard from, Nate Hodges. You could see the frustration, and Dave, you and I are close enough to the stage that we could actually hear his groan. It was after that second hit just did not go where he wanted it to. We had the wherewithal, like he said in the interview, to go back and try to fix it. It just didn't go. He ran away from that front face. So we'll come back with our next round of action.
Tell you everything you need to know. They tell you why we employ more than 2,000 workers at our factory in Virginia Beach, and why over 10,000 local steel dealers are putting battery power in the hands of Americans. Not everyone can say that, but we can. Made in America. Real steel. Find yours.
Let's roll, let's go.
When we work in harmony, anything is possible.
Duluth Trading Company was born from generations who showed us that the only way to live life is to live it hands-on.
To do it the hard way. To take the trail untrodden. To take the damn thing apart, put it back together, and have the world be better for it.
We don't think that the go all in, dig deep, and get your hands dirty spirit exists in everybody.
We know it does. Duluth Trading. Take on life with your own 2 hands.
Your neighborhood Ace carries a full lineup of steel, gas, and battery outdoor power equipment and accessories. Shop STIHL at acehardware.com. Choose in-store pickup or free delivery to your door.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Welcome back to Virginia Beach, Virginia. This is the 2023 edition of the STIHL Timbersports U.S. Trophy event. We have had 2 days of action with time trials yesterday and our actual bracketed single elimination matchup here today. We have been through our 2 rounds already, and we are moving into semifinals 1 and 2. It is Koger v. Slingerland and Lentz v. Hodges as they battle to go into both our final and our small final to pick our medal winners and our champion. The champion is going to advance on to the Netherlands June 10th for the World Trophy Championship. Doesn't give you a whole lot of time to polish off your passport, get your stuff shipped. It's a pretty tight turnaround, less than 1 month away for our champion from today to pack up to head to the World.
Jack Jordan. Jack Jordan, big name right now out of New Zealand. He won it last year. He beat Jason Lentz by a couple hits in that final race. And that's who everyone's hunting down is Jordan in New Zealand. He's on fire. And I think we're probably about ready to go. Or I'm going to keep talking about Jack Jordan. We watched him. I've watched him already. He won the New Zealand national qualifier. Smoked it, made it look easy. Semi-final round. Matt Koger versus Matty Slingerland. So we got Koger out of Grafton, West Virginia. Matty Slingerland out of Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. Matt Koger on your left, the world record holder. Matty Slingerland looking to move on to the final. This is going to be so close. I'd say advantage, chopping advantage, Koger, sawing advantage, Slingerland.
I think that's a fair assessment. I won't fight you on that. The question is, and my statement, I guess, would be, I think the chopping advantage might be bigger on one side than the sawing advantage is on the other, but I love to see how Matty Slingerland has cleaned up his single from what we've seen in earlier rounds. We haven't seen the hangs, the catches, the whatever.
Not seen a yellow flag either. I don't want to jinx any. We jinxed it yesterday.
You did.
You jinxed it, so
Now
I'll
it's your
say
turn.
it.
Yeah, great. Thanks, buddy. But we also saw him get that stock saw bobble out of the way, that uncharacteristic stock saw bobble. It's almost like, well, there, good. You know there's going to be something that's going to happen. He had his something. The air is clear. Now he's got room to sail.
Look at the size of these axes out here. These are 8-inch
Warm
wide.
up your saws. Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Oh, very quick to the wood on stand number 1.
Again, look at Koger's disc. Oh no!
Unbelievable.
Koger depressed the chain brake. He got so close to the log, his forearm engaged the chain brake, something we have never seen before. Around to the back is Matty Slingerland. Only a 2-hit lead. He may need more than that. Koger is bringing on. This is what we call hardcore blue-collar toughness. Is Matt Koger's regained the lead. We have never seen anything like this.
This is absolute insanity. Matt Koger, the facial expression, the aggression right now, he has to pull off this single buck because Matty Slingerland is coming. If Koger can rally back from that massive upset in the stock saw.
Look at the eyes of Koger staring right into the standing block chop. He owns the world record. He's going to have to bring the speed. One up on the near, one up in the far. Around simultaneously. Massive power, 8-inch wide axes. Koger broken the near. He's done it.
Unbelievable.
Holy cow. What was that?
Well, I tell you what we just saw from Matt Koger that you probably wouldn't have seen otherwise is we saw it all right there. He may have left some in the tank under normal circumstances. He didn't have that opportunity now. He just had to play every card. We now know how fast he can cut that underhand. We now know how fast he can cut that standing block. There was no reserve mode. He could not afford it in that round.
Is stick-to-itiveness a word?
If it isn't, I'll allow it.
I love it. Stick to it. Matt Koger just did not quit. Holy cow.
And the winner is Matt Koger.
We got to get a camera shot of this. We got to zoom in and get this on the big. Even under duress, even fighting from behind, you are still able to maintain the power and the technique. And look at the accuracy as if it was. You're probably looking at this going, "Oh, that's a little unclean." But Matt, what happened in that stock saw? We saw what happened. It looked like you came up a little too close, and your forearm engaged the chain brake. Is that correct, or did the chain brake hit the wood?
You know, just being silly. I got a little too anxious to shut off the saw and shut it off in the cut.
Oh, you hit the kill switch.
Yeah, I was ready for it to come off, and it just wasn't quite there, so I guess I was just being a little too anxious.
Any other human being would be out of the race. Matty had hits on you. You absolutely caught up and took the lead back in the underhand. Is that just pure confidence? Is it rage? Is it a little of everything?
It's a little of everything. I knew I was behind, and he's just such a great, strong competitor, and I've taught him a few things, so I'm like, well, he's either going to beat me with what I've taught him, or I'm going to have to go a little bit harder. So we just went a little harder that time, that's all.
We appreciate the entertainment. I know you didn't mean to do that. Rest up for the final round. He's still here, Matt Koger. Oh, he had to he had to restart it, but he restarted it illegal. But that's a legal restart.
Yeah, he completely killed the saw. Engine off, not just hit the brake. Completely killed it. And this is where our athletes are pushing the absolute margin of everything. They're looking for that nanosecond.
Trouble here on the right, though. Watch Matty Slingerland. He can sense right here, Matty. No, he was good. I thought he had to take one more half hit. But Koger He's down, not out. Right here, he struggles again. Hangs that raker. Slingerland catching up. And Koger just fighting. And you can see it right here. And it's just not enough of a lead for Slingerland when Maddie wants to win a standing.
Yeah, about 3/4 of a blow into that block was the advantage for Slingerland. And Matt Koger, though, just stayed in it, put in a beautiful front face, clean cut, was at midpoint, was in great shape, and then just brought the grr. Just absolute rage in the backside of that block. Didn't go to panic mode, right? He's got that mental maturity, didn't go to full panic mode, but that little bit of, gotta go, time to do this, and he just brought that extra speed.
Yeah, he was so anxious to get to that underhand, he turned the saw off.
Yep.
So we're going to see it right now. We're going to do the replay one more time, just queuing it up. But watch, he gets the saw between his legs, 3 points of contact. That's a legal start.
Yep. Yeah.
A lot of athletes would panic, drop start it. That's illegal. You're done anyway.
He had to go back in and get the nose of that bar lined up in his curve. He can't just randomly start the saw somewhere. He had to get the nose of the bar in the curve, get into the block, and the underhand really was what brought him back into contention with Matt Slingerland.
Boy, and he just barely releasing that nose, releasing the wrist, letting that nose come around and slice those lower fibers. They barely came off. It's just that slight hang. I think on that pull stroke, he's pulling down on the saw. He's trying to force it to cut that near wood. That's why Koger did that hang, as opposed to pulling it straight back, let the belly cut. But no hangs in the standing.
No, beautiful technical cut. We had a great vantage point from where we're sitting to see that opening side for Matt Koger, and you could just see a beautiful, clean, consistent cut all the way to the center line, drove past the center line. Big drivers here at the finish, clean finish for Matt Koger. There you see Slingerland's front side of his block, got away from him a bit. He ran out of cuttable wood there, came down with a little too much slope on that top side, on the front side of the log. So when he went to drive off from the backside, he's driving into wood instead of that clean, fresh air. There it is in black, white, and orange. Matt Koger is going to advance out of semifinal 1, and he is going to go against one of these guys in semifinal 2, either Jason Lentz or Nate Hodges, in our gold medal matchup, our finals matchup. Of course, Matt Slingerland is going to move on to the small final to see if he can have a chance to be our bronze medal winner and get on that podium.
Yeah, I think they need to change the name of the small final when you have Nate Hodges and Matt Slingerland in it. Oh, I'm sorry. We do not know that yet. Sorry about that, Nate. No disrespect. Or Jason Lentz and Matt Slingerland, regardless. I'm so anxious. I'm just so anxious to watch Matt Koger in the final race. I didn't realize we still have one more semifinal to go. And here they are. Jason Lentz from Diana, West Virginia, and from North Fork, California, the big man Nate Hodges. Well, this again a race. Again, I'd have to give it to Lentz. I have to give a slight advantage to Lentz. I know Hodges has the speed. I know he has the speed in the under. Is it enough to combat the power of Lentz? Could be. 2 out of 3. 2 out of 2. 2 out of 5 times. 3 out of 5 times could be Lentz. You never know. You could run these races 5 times and have 5 different winners.
Well, and let's not forget, we just watched our world record holder in this event turn the saw off before he was done cutting. We've watched...
It wasn't a yellow flag, though.
No, it wasn't. But it just shows you the pressure these guys are putting on themselves, right? And so those mistakes are going to get made. We watched Maddie Slingerland hit the chain break in time trials. We've watched guys not have complete cuts in the underhand, so running away from the block. But if there's going to be a mistake, these guys are putting that pressure on.
I think they're learning that they don't have to panic. These things happen. They happen. Don't panic. Head down. Get the job done.
Warm up your saws. Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Both of these saws singing that same beautiful one-note song right in the same power band.
Look at the power of Lentz. Again, Hodges on your right, choked up on that handle. Speed, accuracy by both these athletes, the power of Lentz. His father, Melvin, major U.S. champion for years. Lentz driving already. Is this a gamble? Is this a gamble he's going to win? Skip the bottom chip. And Hodges, one hit behind. This is where the race could be won or lost. Trouble on the left.
Lots of chatter on stand number 1 for Jason Lentz.
Another hook by
and a
Lentz.
hang-up.
Hodges clean so far. Lentz struggling but in. Hodges a slight lead. Hodges slightly gaining the lead. No. Lentz blows it off the bottom again, saying this is my race. Find your own race to win. Here comes Lentz. He's going to put 2 more down. And as they say, he's going to come at it around to the backside. Hodges right with him.
Look at that cut from Lentz. Always that big, wide open front face. But Hodges drives a ton of wood. Oh, there it is.
Wow.
Lentz off.
I thought Lentz gambled. He put one up in the near. He avoided the one up far hit. I did not think he had enough to drive it off. He did. He gambled in the underhand. We're going to have to watch this relay. He put about 6 drivers in the lower half of that underhand block. A gamble, won it, but risky.
I think it could have been done faster. I think he won that underhand, but I think he lost that gamble. He did not have a good front face in there. He was trying to break a lot of wood. I don't know if that was the right axe for that block.
Well, you can see him down here, they're not lined up.
Yeah.
Like for as strong as he hits, look at those hits. Oh, one of them only went in about 1.5 inches because he's stair-stepping in, unlike Lentz. So I got a little worried when he cut that stand. He put one up, one down. He put one up near, left the far, and I go, oh, no, here it comes again. But he just found that power, and again, 6'6", 260. Sometimes you just bring that blue-collar toughness. You just have to say, I'm getting the log. The log's coming off in half, whether it wants to or not.
Yeah, and this is another great angle, Dave, to look right down on Jason Lentz's block in cross-section. Look at how little work he did in the front side of that block compared to the back. He was really, that's where all those extra drivers were going in, was reaching through past the center point.
And the winner is Jason Lentz.
We'll let these guys rest up, but this is live streamed to the world, and you know who's watching this is Jason's dad, Melvin, back home. We know that he's watching, and actually we'll get a quick word from you. Hey, Jason, quick interview. I know you want to rest up. Not your best underhand in the front side. Do you agree?
Yeah, I think it was more in the back.
The back side?
Yeah, in the back. Pinched myself for wood. I haven't been home but for 3 weeks from Australia, and you have to present the axe different in hardwood to softwood. It stood me up a couple times, so lost some penetration, lost time.
Couple hang-ups in the single buck. Things you can fix for the finals, though.
Yeah, definitely. I'll have to fix him to beat Matt.
All right, rest up. He's going to the finals 2 years in a row. Big round of applause from Diana, West Virginia, Jason Lentz.
Here's another look at that underhand cut. Let's watch the end of this underhand cut for Jason Lentz. You can see right now he's on the right side of his chop, the drive side of his chop. It should be 2, maybe 3 blows, and I lost count there, Dave. That was like 5,
Yeah, he only
6.
took 2 chip hits. The chip hits relieve the chip. The chip comes out, but it's not always enough. So he just decided, I'm going to come at this log, maybe feeling a little pressure from Hodges. And then again, too tight. This single bucking, sometimes it's just from white knuckling it. It's just gripping the handle too tight. These plates are about 13 gauge, and you grip them too tight, they will bend. They won't feed in. Again, watch Lentz on the left side of your screen. He's going to go around to the back. He's going to put one up, one down, relieve the chip. He's going to put one up near and decide that's enough. I didn't think he cut the far wood enough. Broke the near, but again, that's just power. It's beautiful timing. The axe worked. You have to give him credit.
Yeah, he did have a really, there's the angle we need right there. I said he had a really big front, especially on the near front for him, which would be far on the backside, and that's where I think he got away with not clearing that chip. He just drove it off.
Hodges, one hit behind. We're not giving him enough credit. There he is in the back.
Maybe you're not giving him enough credit.
Maybe I'm not giving enough. I think I just want to see. I want to see the Koger-Lentz final race. I'm dying to see that. No disrespect to Nate. I would love to see that race too. But Hodges, again, one hit there. Almost the same final as we saw Hodges and Lentz in the final last year, the same gap just in the semifinal this year.
Yeah, absolutely. He is right there. He knows he's right there. Both of these guys left it all out there. You saw them both hands on their knees. These aren't guys that have been just sitting around eating potato chips on the couch for the past few months. They have been training extensively. You mentioned the high altitude training for Hodges. We talked a lot about Jason Lentz training overseas in Australia this winter with the likes of Lawrence O'Toole and others. They are putting the work in some of the most extreme conditions. To see these guys out here winded, bent over, they are really leaving it all on this stage.
Well, you know, you and I have been talking this whole time and watching our monitor, but we're looking over this beautiful trophy, this beautiful handmade trophy right in front of us, Kevin.
Yeah, a lot of pride goes into this event. There's a lot of money at stake. There's a trip to the Netherlands, but all of that really comes down to bragging rights. And who's going to take this baby home, and who's going to have it on their shelf, and who's going to go on to the Netherlands and try to go for that title, the World Trophy Championship, and bring a bigger version of this even.
Absolutely.
Home.
It's not going to be an easy journey.
No.
They're going to have to get past the Canadians. They're going to have to get past Jack Jordan from New Zealand. They
They're
have to
gonna
get
pass
past
Lawrence
O'Toole from Australia.
Yeah.
You know, so this is step one. Going to Rotterdam in the Netherlands is just, but again, we'll all be watching it. I wish we were there, Kevin. I wish we could pick up this table and just set it right there in Rotterdam. You and I could call it. It'd be great, but we'll be watching it as the world can on the live stream.
Absolutely. I'll be tuned in for sure. Well, we've got a big matchup to settle, including our small final and our championship round. We can't wait to bring you that action. Stay with us.
Your neighborhood Ace carries a full lineup of steel, gas, and battery outdoor power equipment and accessories. Shop STIHL at acehardware.com. Choose in-store pickup or free delivery to your door.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Duluth Trading Company was born from generations who showed us that the only way to live life is to live it hands-on.
To do it the hard way. To take the trail untrodden. To take the damn thing apart, put it back together, and have the world be better for it.
We don't think that the go all in, dig deep, and get your hands dirty spirit exists in everybody.
We know it does. Duluth Trading. Take on life with your own two hands.
Let's roll. Let's go.
When we work in harmony, anything is possible.
Just 3 words tell you everything you need to know. They tell you why we employ more than 2,000 workers at our factory in Virginia Beach, and why over 10,000 local steel dealers are putting battery power in the hands of Americans. Not everyone can say that, but we can. Made in America. Real steel. Find yours.
Well, not just made in America, but made here in Virginia Beach, in Virginia, in America, and shipped out to, I don't even know how many countries
100.
around the world. 100
yep.
countries. You were paying better attention to Terry's speech than I was, I guess. 100 countries around the world. Welcome back. It is U.S. trophy time, and we are down to our championship rounds, our small final, and our final matchup. What a route it has been to get here, with some surprises, some upsets, some mistakes, some issues, some
never seen before. As
yeah.
if we keep thinking we've seen it all.
Yes.
But to see the best in the world shut off a chainsaw prematurely, again, that's not something that they visualize ever happening in training.
No, but I'll tell you what, they'll visualize it every time they do this event for the next 10 years. They'll remember that moment. They'll remember that commitment to finish. So again.
I did it once.
Yeah.
I should, but I lied. I lied to the head judge, Rich Howard, as much as I could, even though I knew. But now there's too many cameras. Too many cameras, too many judges. You can't get away with it anymore.
Well, the classic one that I know you did, and I know I've seen other athletes do, was a lot of the thumb down to the choke switch. Right off the start, they'd come off to grab the saw, and their thumb would go right past the hand grip, right down to the start-stop choke, and shove the saw down to choke and kill it before it ever left the launching pad.
Yep. What happened? David Bolstead always said, that happens.
Well, we're getting ready for our small final action, this is going to be our bronze medal matchup to decide third and fourth place as we rejoin the group. Let's bring our athletes out.
All right, let's bring them out in our small final from Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, Matty Slingerland. And his opponent, not much time to rest, one more race, Nate Hodges from North Fork, California. Well, you just feel like with these, anyone could win the gold medal here today. But these guys are going to be going for that bronze medal round. Hodges took the silver last year. Matty knocked out early, so Matty's got to feel better. He's moved up in the ranks.
Yeah, and Matt Slingerland was one of my contenders. I thought we would be on the podium, and I thought he had a good chance of making it to the finals round. Didn't quite get there. We see him here in our semifinals round, our small final to decide the bronze medal.
I think this is when the guys can, I don't want to say have a little more fun, but they can relax a little more. Remember, it was the small final last year when Matt Koger broke the world record. He said, I don't care what I'm in. I don't care if I'm in the final small final. I'm going for it. So you hear Nate Hodges over there throwing a few jokes around, but, you know, a loose cut is a fast cut.
Yeah.
So this will be a bit of a grudge match.
Your saws. Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Well, I think we're going to, I'm thinking it's Hodges.
Yeah.
I think Hodges is going to let it all hang out here. Synchronized.
One-handed grab for Matty Slingerland, but he didn't really get his hand to the trigger as quick as he normally does. This stock saw was a time for him to get a little bit of an advantage over Hodges. They are in a virtual dead heat into the underhand with about a one swing advantage for Hodges into the back.
Well, I remember in Milwaukee when Nate Hodges broke the springboard record in 37 seconds. He had that mentality. I'm going to have fun. I'm going to go for it. I'm going to show him how it's done. Matt Slingerland, though, off first in the underhand. Hodges a half a swing behind him. Here comes Slingerland with the speed. If he gets it going, he's going to be hard to catch.
Well, Hodges with all kinds of problems getting going on that single buck event. He actually stepped on the carpet with his metal caulk shoes and slipped with his front foot.
Matty Slingerland with a massive lead and a beautiful single buck cut. He's got so much equipment all in a pile. One more cut to bring it home, open it up, and we'll just see if he can puts that chip out of the way, keep it safe. Matty Slingerland, is he just digging for everything he has?
Yeah, he's got to have a clean cut. This is his race to lose. There's that step up we saw on the last round. He brings it back down a little bit, reshoots the bottom of that chop, but that sets him up with a really high face. He's got to get it in gear because here comes Nate Hodges.
Boy, this is going to be close. Hodges maybe gaining, and he's done it. Holy cow, Hodges. Hodges was almost a half disc behind in the single buck. Matty just ran out of gas. He pinched his log in the back, grabbed the axe, and it just zaps any bit of energy left out of your arms to retrieve that axe. The handshake, Hodges got a big smile, but you have to give credit. Look at the slope. Look at the slope on the man from California. He's stuck, and he said, if I'm going to catch up to Slingerland, it can't just be on power. I have to win on accuracy.
And that's what we're not seeing over on the block of Matty Slingerland. He stepped up way high. The same thing
Almost
in his
hit
last round.
I thought those screws were in jeopardy up
Yeah,
there.
absolutely. He stepped up way high, especially on those up hits, and then he had to roll that slope in. His last hit on the front side was, I don't know, maybe like a 15-degree angle.
And the winner is Nate Hodges.
Well, you guys just keep bringing the drama. Maddie, you were so far ahead. Nate, you struggled. Here we go. You struggled in the single buck. You didn't give up. I just heard Maddie say, I need a beer. Tell us what happened in that standing. You just kept fighting. There was just no quit.
Well, I said, you know what? There's two ways you can cut a standing block. You can go full throttle, hope for the best. So it works a lot of times. Stand back and lay the hits in hard like I did just now and kind of see if it works out. I cut it pretty good. It was slow, methodical, but it came right off, you know?
Yeah, just an unbelievable come from behind. Maddie, I know you're frustrated, but you did gain ground from last year. You've moved up into the small final. You have to be happy with that. I know if you could do that standing block again, maybe that whole race again, you could take the win. What are you feeling?
Yeah, I trained a bit better this year. Went harder, wanted to attack every race and feel like I did. You know, the fourth one's a bit tough on everyone, I think. But, yeah, if I didn't short myself in that standing block, you know, it'd be a different story. But, you know, what can you do? Just move on and learn from it.
You got married in December. Your wife's here. How you feeling?
Yeah, I love you, Cassandra. Thanks for all the support, guys. It's a great event. So glad we're here. Let's do it again next year. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Let's go back and take a look at the run here. We'll pick up with the underhand chop where things were looking very good for Matty Slingerland. He's off this block. Hodges had to go back and kind of give a little extra half pump as he was getting off his underhand block. Advantage, I would say, should be Slingerland in the single buck. Dave, what's your analysis?
Well, it was. Slingerland just ran away with it. Hodges struggled at the top. I think he buckled the saw a little bit at the top. The kerf is now crooked. I don't care how strong you are. Look at him just struggling to pull that 12-gauge, 13-gauge saw through the log. I thought he's out of it. I was just saying when Matty went around to the backside, I said, well, it's just going to be a victory lap for him. But Hodges went slow and methodical, unlike him. Hodges is normally speed. He had to call a bit of a technique audible and just look at the power, goes to the backside, lines up, and Hodges says, hang on a second, I'm still around.
Yeah, I got nervous right about at this moment. I was looking down at Hodges, and I could just see how much progress he'd made and how choked off Matty Slingerland was in the back of that standing block.
Yeah, it was the first down hit. You can see it right there. It's only about 2 inches below those slabbing screws, and I think Matty knew. He said, oh, no. That's not like me. It's unlike me. It's unlike Matt to hit the chain break. He did that earlier. But you got to go for it. Sometimes I always say the best cut you can make is cutting yourself some slack.
Yeah, absolutely. And it seems like it's always the transition from one discipline to the next, from the front side of the stand to the back side of the stand. These guys are on the go. We have one last matchup. Our finals match will be up right after this break.
Just 3 words tell you everything you need to know. They tell you why we employ more than 2,000 workers at our factory in Virginia Beach, and why over 10,000 local steel dealers are putting battery power in the hands of Americans. Not everyone can say that, but we can. Made in America. Real steel. Find yours.
Let's roll, let's go.
When we work in harmony, anything is possible.
Duluth Trading Company was born from generations who showed us that the only way to live life is to live it hands-on.
To do it the hard way. To take the trail untrodden. To take the damn thing apart, put it back together, and have the world be better for it.
We don't think that the go all in, dig deep, and get your hands dirty spirit exists in everybody.
We know it does. Duluth Trading. Take on life with your own 2 hands.
Your neighborhood Ace carries a full lineup of steel, gas, and battery outdoor power equipment and accessories. Shop STIHL at acehardware.com. Choose in-store pickup or free delivery to your door.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Welcome back. We have battled and bruised and broken and smashed and cut our way down to this final matchup, our championship round. Dave, I don't think there's a lot of surprises over the two names that made it to this matchup. There have been a lot of surprises along the way, though, that led us to this matchup.
Well, we just did the small final. I felt like that was the final. I couldn't believe, like, oh, wait, we have another final. That was just so intense and so much energy and so many surprises. But I feel like they should have all gotten them out of the way. They're out of their system right now. We saw Lentz, not major mistakes, but big mistakes for him. Nothing major. Matt Koger, major. Hitting the kill switch on the saw. I've never seen an athlete do that, but that's just, again, you can want it. You want it too much. You go beyond your ability. Trying to flirt with, oh, the disc is off, shut off the saw. You think you're gaining a ton of time. It's not. It's too risky. It's asking for trouble.
Well, we watched him lose a ton of time and somehow just rally back. I don't know how he ever – I had chalked it up. I go, well, that's it. Our record holder, our former champ, he's out. That's it. We'll see him maybe in the small final. And for him to rally back, get the win over Matty Slingland, and make it here to our final, our gold medal matchup is absolute insanity.
Yeah, when I saw Matt Koger kill that saw, he just had this look like – not 2 years in a row. It's not happening 2 years in a row. And absolutely just destroyed that underhand. I can't believe this is just edge of your seats, timber sports stuff here. And as soon as they give us the go, we're going to bring these monsters back out on stage. 4th generation, 3rd generation timber sports athlete all on the stage.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have the stage prep. The Granite State crew has done a beautiful job getting everything lined up. Tools and equipment are in place. Are you ready? It is time for our finals matchup to crown our 2023 U.S. Trophy champion.
The world record holder from Grafton, West Virginia, Matthew Koger. And last year's champion looking to defend his title from Diana, West Virginia, 4th generation timber sports athlete. Big round of applause for Jason Lentz. This rivalry goes back a long way. It went back to their dads. Melvin Lentz competing against Paul Koger. It was a rivalry when I entered the sport. It is now transferred into their kids. And I wish Melvin Lentz was here right now. The king of all lumberjacks, Jason's dad. He is just a presence to be felt. I'm sure we'll see him in Milwaukee at the national, watching Jason go for the national title. But again, watch on the side here. Watch Matt Koger. He's got this technique where the stock saw, he takes a thick disc, again, to shorten the disc, shorten the width of the disc in his single buck to release some tension on the saw. I think it's a brilliant move. We'll see if he goes for this or if he goes for a safe,
warm up
thinner
your
cut.
saws. Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Both of these guys slamming that saw into the block. Matt Koger with a slightly thicker disc. He did wait to complete his cut. About a 1.5 blow advantage to Matt Koger over his childhood buddy, Jason Lentz.
Once you see the big wood taken out, that's when the speed comes into play. Matt Koger just looking right down. That block is off already. Jason Lentz still taking a few hits. Matt Koger getting that carpet out of the way. This is the variable right now. If Matt can get into the big wood, establish a level sawing plane, he can bring it home and take that standing block off. Lentz bringing it though. Look at Lentz going right to the handle. Lentz catching up. A slight hang by Koger. 1 stroke lead. Lentz is only 1 hit behind.
This is still a really tight race for both these competitors. Both of them running out of gas in the tank. Lentz has run out of cuttable wood. It's going to be harder for him to drive that block off. Coger has more fresh air.
Lentz driving. Lentz done it. He's done it.
Lentz.
He's done it again. Holy cow, you just don't see that happen. When Coger gets into the block first, no one beats him. Lentz maybe pinched the front. It did not matter. That block was moving. You saw it coming. I couldn't help but to call it, Kevin.
Oh, absolutely. Look at the advantage that Coger had coming out of that underhand. I don't know what went wrong for Jason Lentz in that underhand. He was way behind in that underhand. I would have given Coger the advantage in the single saw, but Lentz ran away and just reeled him in.
That is the fastest single buck, and it was brought at the right time, in the right place. Lentz, that won it for him. But I can't wait for the replay. Unbelievable. Goosebump timber sports stuff. It couldn't be any better here in Virginia Beach.
And the winner is Jason Lentz.
Holy cow. Watch this. Lentz is behind. Coger does what he does best. He wins underhands. Look at Lentz. He's still driving. The race is over. It's over, Kevin, or is it?
Yeah, turn off the lights. Everybody go home.
Right. Coger hangs. Here it comes. It's going to hang. Coger is going to slow right down. I thought I saw a hang, but Lentz is just powering it through. Low Coger. There it is right there at the bottom. That's all it took. Lentz caught up because that's the difference in the win.
About a swing and a half advantage for Lentz, but look at the pace difference. This is where the time spent in Australia.
That's speed.
That's where you get that speed. Chopping that harder timber, that's where you build that endurance. It was just evident that Lentz had more gas in the tank, about a half of a blow difference. This will be a great angle to watch down the stage as we see both of these guys drive through. See that little hang of the axe? I didn't even notice that from Matt Coger. A little hang of the axe there. Wow, what a beautiful finish for both of these guys. We're going to be back right after this break to award our medals and have our final ceremony here. Thanks for being with us, and stay with us. Just some more to come.
Your neighborhood Ace carries a full lineup of steel, gas, and battery outdoor power equipment and accessories. Shop STIHL at acehardware.com. Choose in-store pickup or free delivery to your door.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Duluth Trading Company was born from generations who showed us that the only way to live life is to live it hands-on.
To do it the hard way. To take the trail untrodden. To take the damn thing apart, put it back together, and have the world be better for it.
We don't think that the go all in, dig deep, and get your hands dirty spirit exists in everybody.
We know it does. Duluth Trading. Take on life with your own two hands.
Let's roll, let's go.
When we work in harmony, anything is possible.
Just 3 words tell you everything you need to know. They tell you why we employ more than 2,000 workers at our factory in Virginia Beach, and why over 10,000 local steel dealers are putting battery power in the hands of Americans. Not everyone can say them, but we can. Made in America. Real steel. Find yours.
Virginia 2023 STIHL TIMBERSPORTS U.S. trophy event. We just wrapped up one of the most exciting head-to-head matchups of my entire career here. What an epic race between two of the best in the business. picking it up with this single buck event. This is where things really started to get dicey. We had a huge advantage from Koger out of the underhand. Lentz reels him in this single buck event, and then it's the standing block. Dave and I were talking during that commercial break. The pace of Jason Lentz has just picked up exponentially, and it really, we feel anyways, is a function of that time and energy spent in Australia, training on harder wood, really thinking about this trophy event, the time he spent with Lawrence O'Toole, helping Lawrence prepare for his trophy event. What a race between multi-generational choppers, just putting on an epic clinic here in Virginia Beach, Virginia.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's that time to crown our champions. One will move on to the Netherlands to represent the United States. We're going to bring out a couple guests here. We've got Murray Bishop. He is the Vice President of Sales with STIHL Incorporated. Big round of applause. He's going to help us out with the awards ceremony here. Let's bring him in third place, taking the bronze medal from North Fork, California, Nate Hodges. There you go. Thanks, Murray. Nate Hodges taking the silver last year, still on the podium, taking the bronze medal this year. And taking second place from Grafton, West Virginia, the world record holder, Matt Koger. Matt just given us some unbelievable races. He's broken world records. He's won the national title. Be back here again, fighting, try to get that U.S. trophy. And in first place, taking the gold medal, representing the United States in Rotterdam, in the Netherlands, from Diana, West Virginia, Jason Lentz. 2 years in a row, back to back. What a statement. Yeah, big round of applause for all three of our athletes. And again, Jason will be representing STIHL U.S. in the United States June 10th in the Netherlands. It will all be live streamed. quick interview. One more time. Jason, hop down. We're going to give one more big interview with you. What a journey. It started in Australia in January. You said you put about $40,000 into training between travel expenses, putting work aside. You've been attacking this, and I got to say, your friend Lawrence O'Toole in Australia, he was right. You're representing the U.S. You're going to Rotterdam. You're going to see him there. What would you like to say?
Yeah, he's quite often right, actually, Dave. So, yeah, I'll see you there, Lawrence. I just want to thank STIHL, all the sponsors, the athletes I competed against. We're a tight-knit community, and it's always a pleasure to compete against all these guys, and great to take out the #1 spot gold medal on this stage.
Do you want to talk about that final race? It looked like your best single buck cut came at the right moment.
Yeah, Dave, I was struggling there in the underhands, and I've been training pretty hard, and singling down in Australia is completely different as well. I really didn't put in as much time cutting softwood the past 3 weeks as what I wanted to, but everything came together at the right time. Matt's a hell of a competitor. He's tough to beat in anything, and for me to accomplish that with a smaller break than what he had, I'm pretty proud of that moment.
Kevin and I in the commentary booth, when you went into that final, the backside of the standing block, we both said, where did this speed come from with Lentz? And you gathered speed. You came from behind. You won by one hit. Where did you find that speed?
I don't know, Dave. I was kind of blacked out at that point after my first couple strokes of the single buck, and it was going smooth. Yeah, I just zoned in. That came off, and I thought I heard Matt Koger's cookie hit the deck maybe a stroke before mine. And, yeah, I pedaled to the metal with everything I had.
We'll be seeing you on the live stream June 10th in Rotterdam in the Netherlands. We'll also be seeing you in late July looking for a national title in Milwaukee at German Fest. Everybody can watch that. One big round of applause for Jason Lentz, the whole field, and all of our sponsors.
Ladies and gentlemen, we can't thank you enough for hosting us here at Virginia Beach. Of course, the home of STIHL. Personally, me, one of the greatest timber sports moments that I've ever had the privilege of witnessing. What an amazing race, and I can't wait to see the action continue. June 10th, the World Trophy event in the Netherlands. For Dave Jewett, I'm Kevin Holtz. Thanks for watching. We can't wait to see you again next time.